What's up, everybody? We are here with Justin. Justin participated in top tables for the most recent unofficial Godzilla Discord tournament. Justin, you want to say hey, introduce yourself, give some shout outs?
Yeah, hi, I'm Justin. My Bushi name is Angel Eyes, but my real name is right here. I normally play Gigan, but the 1 week that I got on this, I'm playing Destoroyah. So this is based on a deck that I got from Steve, who's watching. He got that from a Japanese list. Yeah.
And Steve, you're also joined in the call with us. You want to say hi, give any shout outs?
Hey everybody, it's really fun to always be on this Discord and doing the tournament, so...
All right, shall we get to it?
Yeah, absolutely, go right ahead.
Okay. So the monster is pretty standard for blue counter deck. Rank 1, it's a starter deck one. 6,000, which is really nice. Now originally I was playing this one, which, I don't know if you can see that, but it's 5,000 and when invading, destroy something rank 4 or lower. But I found with this deck, you pretty much never want to invade. And if you're never in rank 4 or zone 4, then they can never play rank 4s, so it pretty much doesn't come up. So I went with this because if you get to 11, that does actually beat out a lot of early counter that could only get to 10. For example, you live 1 Condor. This one, pretty common in evolution decks. It'll just play out the level 4 that is in the discard. So it's good when you're getting your board removed. This rank 3 is really, really good. It makes everything rank 5 or lower next to it plus 3,000. So you can get like up to plus 9,000 extra counter power. And then this last one's pretty standard as well. 50, need to be 51,000 or higher to get countered, otherwise it just moves back. But that's only if you're in 6 or higher, which I learned the hard way in the last match. But he was going to have it anyway, so it didn't really matter. Because Ian just has every card he needs always. So. Any questions on those? Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right, let's see what we have. For the monsters, this is like a very low monster count deck. So we have 4 Biollantes. That's for the rank 7 battle card, which needs Biollante names in the discard. Then I'm playing 1 Godzilla, rank 3, with the enter effect that you can evolve something rank 4 or lower. It has not come up yet, but I keep feeling like it will. These cards don't matter as long as they have Biollante in traits, so you can use whatever you want. I don't think there's a specific reason why these 4 were picked. Steve, if you know.
No, they're just Biollante monster cards. I think in my deck list, I just had the ones that I owned, and they were
okay.
1 step.
I too am a victim.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. And this has Biollante on it, but it's not a Biollante.
It fits the theme.
Okay, then 2 baby Godzillas. That's actually really nice because you can play it turn 1. So even if you're forced to go first, which you never want to be, but if you're forced to go first, you can play the baby. And then it'll get you... Oh, that's not right. It's a little bit out of order. There. It'll get you this on turn 2, which is a 3,000. And if you do have to invade, or you went first, so you're moving up, you can actually get 6,000 on turn 2, which is really, really nice. So I like this ratio because it's 2 to 1, but if you really think about it, these are basically copies of this that will search it for the deck. Very rarely do you draw the second one and it kind of hurts your deck because blue is already discarding and drawing so much already. So 2 of these to make sure that you see this as early as possible. Next is 4 Orgas. Orga is really good. It's cheap, and you can pitch. Usually I pitch Destoroyah because I always draw Destoroyah in my opening hand, the rank 8. But also, like if you have one of these and you don't need it anymore, you can just get rid of that. So there's a lot of stuff that you'll have in your hand that bricks your hand, and it's nice that this deck has a lot of discard. So I play 3 of these. They're good the whole game. even by the end, you just play it and then play a higher rank card over it immediately. So it's never really bad. Okay. Biolantes, 2, 3, and 3, 4. I'm actually not sure about the ratio for this one because they both evolve into a 7 right away. So is there a reason why you did 2 and 3?
That is another one of those ownership things. I would do a full playset of the 3s if I owned more than 2.
Okay, yeah, so that's probably what I would change. I would change these 2 to 3s and then just leave that one as a 4, which is my only parallel, so that's nice. Yeah, I don't think the 1000 is going to come up much, as much as being able to play it a turn early. So for everyone watching, switch these out for 2 more of these. But it's usually not a huge deal. For Destoroyah Aggregates, amazing card. You need to get these out as soon as possible so you can evolve into your big guy. Pretty straightforward, not much to say about these. One Chibi Mecha. This is a really good card. If you're on your rank 3, you can actually boost this to 9 on a 5. Now, you probably won't be at rank 3 that early in the game, but otherwise it's a 6, which is really, really nice. It does come up a lot. I might play more than one of these. Not really sure. But I'm also playing 3 Condors, just because Condor is an amazing card. There's so much removal in this game that you would just get killed anyway. But as you'll see later, there are a lot of cards that you also want to put in the same column as your opponent. So it's like fine to play these early on because they'll die and then you'll have Super X2 or Mechagodzilla to play later. So use these early on, especially against biollante, like you get turn 1 counter. Like a Mecha next to your guy and then a giant Condor is really nice. More flying forms. Amazing card. It really helps you to unbrick. So if you have the rank 8 in your hand, or the little Godzilla in your hand, there's a little Godzilla in your hand, you can pitch those for better cards. It's really, really good. You can even do combos where like you evolve into this card, the strategy card, and then if you have another one already, you can evolve into the rank 8 and play it. So there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with that. It just fixes your hand, basically. 2 Super X2s. This card is amazing. Basically changes rage from +5 to +2. Especially against Biollante, it's crazy. It can get really, really big. This is just an amazing card. Really good, like, anti-rage card. If out of all the cards that say they need to be in the same column as the opponent, I would just pretty much pick this one always. Unless they're not playing any rage at all. And then so I have 2 of the old Biollantes and 1 of the new one. These are really good if your hand is really bricked up. Hopefully you draw some of your discard stuff. Discard the cards you can't play yet, and then evolve into this, and add them back to your deck, and then evolve into them from the deck rather than having them in your hand. This card is really good against Mecha King Ghidorah. Just puts all of their Ghidorahs back into their deck. They no longer have 8 to play the battle card. That's really good. One thing to be really careful of is with the tokens. You do have to play them, and it was ruled that you do have to play them in all possible zones. You can't put 2 of them into one zone. So if it is near your other battle cards, they will get destroyed by the tokens. So just make sure you put it, where you can't hurt anybody. So I only have 1 token. Okay. I've been using this business card. I guess I don't want to give away the address there. I'm using this business card. Okay. And this is good for resetting your discard as well. two Mechagodzillas. This is pretty insane. It gets a 13, I believe. Usually I'm not putting it in the same column just because Super X is better to be in the same column. But this gets to 10 anyway, just for being a rank 4. Worst case scenario, you can ditch it when you use your many discard effects. One Fire Rodan. Dang. Just really love Rodan. He's just so majestic. In my Rodan sound effect right now.
That's funny.
Wow, that was so cool. Yeah, I just really like Rodan. It doesn't come up that much, but against Gravity Beam, it can be very useful. I wouldn't play more than one, just because you never really want to just sit on things in hand, hoping that you'll get Gravity Beamed. But when it does come up, it is a little bit useful. And it's a 9k at 7, which is slightly above curve, so that's alright. But mainly you just play it because you like Rodan, and it's a nice parallel. So for the Destoroyahs, I'm playing 2 of the old ones, which, this is kind of self-explanatory, it's 10k, and then it can play out the strategy from the discard, so you get it like 2 turns in a row, which is really nice. I was playing 5 Destoroyahs originally, but I just kept drawing them opening hand every single game. So I went down to 2 more. Now these look the same, but they're not. So this one is the new one that's draw 2, discard 2. That's really useful to fix your hand if you need it, but I find I rarely need it like more than once. So the one I'll usually go into if I don't have the well, I'll go into this one if I have a bad hand, basically. This is the one, this is the 2-step 13,000. This is the one I'll go into if I have a good hand and I don't have the strategy in the discard. Because the 13 really does come up a lot. Sometimes it is what's like needed to get over like a threshold. So I don't want to brick, so I only play 4. 4 seems to be the magic number. 5 was like way too many. And 3 I feel like would be bad because I do want 2 of these in the discard at all times. I did have a situation today where I had 1 in the discard, and this was the last one in deck. So it seemed to be the magic number that I had exactly what I needed to pull out the win. But I think this card is underrated. Never play it, but you can evolve into it, and it's really good. But just 1, so it doesn't break. Okay, and these are the strategies that you play out with Destoroyah. So you really do need this because we don't play any rage reducing cards in this deck. No rage reducing, no Gam, no Meganula, no scale attack, scale shot. I think that's Pokemon. So you really do need this. You really do need this to get high enough. It's just plus 10,000, and also very underrated. And a lot of people don't think of this because it has the final form on there, but it's only a 3. So like early on, you could play the aggregate form and then play this, and then you get 14,000 like right away. And then you never really have to worry about wasting it because you just play it back with this guy right here. So it is really nice to use that early on in the game to get the early counters and then recycle it. So this is an amazing card.
Hell yeah.
I might move it to 4. I only own 3 though. But... Okay, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Absolutely necessary, otherwise you lose to counter yourself. This is just like the best removal card in the whole game. All you need is 4 battle cards, and they can be any level. So sometimes if I did brick and draw through 2 little Godzillas, I would just play both because now I'm 1 step closer to playing this. So even if it has no counter power, it's just nice filler. And this is just how you can just destroy anything. Destroy 4 of anything, basically. Really good. I think it technically can get you the win if you're invading. I have never invaded with this deck in my life. But I guess technically it can get you that as well. But it's mainly to prevent getting countered yourself. And then the last ones. It's 3 gravity beam. I might knock this down to 2, just because I feel like it's bricking a lot in my hand if I open it. Because I rarely want to invade, so I'm rarely getting to 5 as quickly as possible. Play it. So I might swap this out for maybe a 4th copy of this if I had one. Or maybe another battle card or something else to fix consistency. It is a 2-step, so there are a lot of like good cards that I could be playing there instead.
Yeah, it's kind of the 2-step is always my hardest decision to make the 10 2-steps which to play.
Yeah, Steve, do you have a suggestion? Like, what if I cut one of these? What would I replace it with?
For me, I would either be replacing it with another Super X2 or another Godzilla vs. Destoroyah for the extra counter power.
Okay. They only own 3, but maybe the one.
The gravity beam is kind of like an anti-rage tech for once you hit that area 5 and you're trying to counter your opponent as they're in those higher ranks.
Right.
So having something that can do that as well is also, that's what I replace it with.
Okay. I'd probably do that too. I almost never like want to go to 5. I'm very desperate if I get 5. Most of the game is played like 1 through 4, just because you get. You always want to go second, but you don't always get it. But most of the game in this deck is played from 1 through 4. In the final match against Ian, we were both ranked. We were both rank 3 by the time I got to Zone 4. So it was like, yeah, most of the game was happening. He was invading though, so. In the counter mirror, it's pretty rough. You kind of... I have to get more experience with it, but I kind of just hope to go second. Because there's not a great way to empty your hand if you brick on it. So you do have to wait for your opponent to get high enough for you to start exchanging cards. It doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, but sometimes it does. I've found that sometimes holding them and waiting does kind of work out in your favor. It really depends on how the game plays out.
But I think that's a good point, because that brings me to the biggest weakness. It is fine to just sit on these cards, but the problem is with this deck, because you play so little rage, and your only removal is when you get to Zone 5. Biggest weakness, I will say, is if you're behind on counters, because you will get countered a lot. And that's basically how the game went with Ian in the final round. We both just countered each other every single turn, but since he countered me first, he won. But if I just had one more turn, then I would have won, right? So that is the biggest weakness of the deck, is if you fall behind the counter curve, then it's pretty hard. But I don't know, maybe I'm just in the bad mindset. Like, maybe there's a quick way I can pivot to invasion, but on the other hand, if I don't have enough rage, I won't survive invading either, so that's the biggest weakness I found.
Nice. Well, hell yeah, guys. I appreciate you both. Thank you so much for your input on your deck building process and kind of how you kind of made the card choices you did. I love your Chibi Godzilla, by the way. He's awesome.
Oh yeah, my friend got this from Japan.
Nice. Hell yeah.
You know what? Hold on a second. So there's a little bit of Gigan in this video. We have a modified Gigan.
Oh, that's cool.
Too. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you both very much. Thank you so much for you guys' deck profile, and I will hopefully see y'all on next Sunday.
Alrighty.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good one.
What's up, everybody? So we're here with Ian, our tournament winner for, what's today's date? 28th. Okay, thank you. But we're here with Ian. What's up, Ian? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing awesome. It's good to see you again. Good to hear from you. So
Likewise.
Everybody, once again, join the Discord. We tell them every time. We're going to keep telling everybody. The link will be in the description below. We had a ton of new people this time at the tournament. We had a ton of new spectators. We had like almost a record number of people in the tournament, whether or not they were participating. It was really awesome to see our last tournament of the 2025 season. So, Ian, do you have anybody you want to shout out or anything?
My man, Well, first, let me shout out you. You and Brian are doing some amazing work creating content, putting it out there for the Godzilla card game. I think that the viewership just continues to grow as the player base continues to grow. I really appreciate all that you do to put us on the map and direct more people to the Discord so they can become our new friends and continue playing with us. I also would love to shout out my local game store, SK Games, and all my friends there who I play with on the reg. Taft, Rick, Doug, some of the most challenging competition that I have to deal with every single Thursday. And they're good and they make me have to be good. I would also give some mad respect to my friends in the GCG Discord server, the unofficial Discord, of course. And that, such as Paul, Tuscan, Slick, Stevel, Zergle, all these names of people that help me test, help me theory craft, help me just, honestly, if nothing else, sometimes help me by listening as I ramble at them about Godzilla card game theory and mathematics and so on and so forth. We have an incredible community here, and it would not be possible to make these decks and get all of these cool accomplishments if not for that network of support that I am so grateful to be plugged into.
It takes a village. That's right.
It really does. And if I wasn't getting my butt kicked every week at locals every Thursday, I would have no reason to improve and continue to try to innovate in the metagame here, right?
That's right. And what were you playing tonight? You're playing SpaceGodzilla tonight, right?
Yes. My current pet deck, Mr. SpaceGodzilla Flying Form. Awesome. I can just jump right into it if you want. So SpaceGodzilla has a really cool level 1. And I like to think about this level 1 as arguably the most important card in the deck, maybe second most important card in the deck, but we'll get into that a little bit later. It has 5,000 threat and has this nifty ability where when invading, you can discard a card from your hand to make crystal tokens. So if you have an invade 2, you can choose to discard 2 cards to make 2 crystal tokens. Crystal tokens are cool. For one thing, they give you 1,000 extra threat for as long as they're on the board. So if you make that little move, you're gaining plus 2,000 threat. It's not as much as if you had raged, but it does occasionally come up. I often treat this card as though it has 7,000 base threat, essentially, because it's able to put out 2 additional crystals on the first turn most of the time. And then you can have rages on top of that. But it also has a lot of interesting interaction with other cards in the deck that care about crystals. In particular, the magic number of crystals is 3. SpaceGodzilla is a deck about counting to 3 as consistently as possible because it is going to use its management of the board in combination with the crystals and some other very precisely applied strategy cards to handle whatever you throw at it. This is not a deck that tries to win by doing the best possible version of a thing. Like the bungler, it's not trying to be, I am 100% aggro. It's not like biollante stun where it's trying to be 100% control. This is a mid-range deck. It is designed such that no matter what the opponent is trying to do, it is able to counteract that game plan and then respond with a game plan that is favorable into it. And over the course of the night, I was able to do that into a wide array of decks. And I don't think that I won any game using the same technique. So it's quite a great deck for anybody who enjoys variety and enjoys thinking a lot. You always have a million decisions that you can make. And usually, whether you win or lose with this deck, it's your fault. The level 2 monster is the SpaceGodzilla 1,200, but it's not, 12,000, but it's not actually 12,000. It's basically 17,000 because as long as there's a crystal in your zones, it gets plus 5,000 threat. So once again, kind of like how this is a pseudo 7k, this is a pseudo 17k, right? And every time it invades, it plays a crystal token. So we are able to replenish crystals even after getting countered. And at level 2, we gain the ability to do so without having to discard cards in exchange. So we're able to continue playing out the whole hand and use those cards for other purposes. I consider it to be an upgrade most of the time over the level 1. It is rare to win games at level 1 with this deck. It is not uncommon to win games at level 2 or level 3. But it has a lot of cool play with the ability to make those crystals, and it will oftentimes have just enough base threat in combination with the crystals to dodge out of the way of common boards that can be presented by competing decks. And it gets there really sneakily. Like, so this guy plus 2 rage and 4 crystals, for example. Say that you've kept your crystals on board or something along those lines. 12 plus 5, 17 plus 4 is going to put you at 21, which means that you dodge out of the way of 2 Gams, you dodge out of the way of 2 Destoroyahs, or a God of Destruction counterattack. It is just kind of a really annoying number, and this deck excels at being able to get those just really annoying thresholds where your opponent barely misses the counter on essential turns. Also, it's very difficult to interact with because it gains threat independently of rage. So resetting my rage to 0 does not remove the plus 5,000 from this. It does not remove the plus 1,000 from every crystal, and therefore it's difficult to interact with using traditional methods that are popular in the current meta decks. If you blow up my crystals, okay, I might still have the rage. If you delete my rage, I still have the crystals. You have to do both in order to fully make it to where I can't play. And most of the time, decks can't do both.
Right.
The level 3 monster on enter plays 2 crystal tokens. This is, however, a bit of a Hail Mary pass. It is unable to create crystals itself, so you have to manage all of your crystal placement up to this point in such a way that when you're in this form, you have all the crystals that you're going to need to hopefully win the game. But failing that, be able to prolong the game for as long as is necessary. And it also has a cool ability where when its rage is increased, it destroys an opponent's rank 5 or lower battle for each crystal in your zone. So it's kind of like a bad Genza annihilated effect, 5 instead of 6, but it clears usually the entire board of 5s and belows because you have so many crystals in play. It is very important, though, not to screw up crystal placement and thus end up in this form with no ability to get back up to 3 crystals. If, however, you get countered again, you end up in the flying form, which has the capacity to play 2 crystal tokens every time its rage is increased. So this thing is very difficult to counter because usually it has 7 crystals on board if it wants it. So that's 35,000 plus 7,000 from the crystals is 42, and then however much rage you have on top of that. Plus, fun little trick, on enter, it moves an opponent's battle card in the same column to an unoccupied zone. Oftentimes, I will move it in front of wherever they are about to trample over with their advancement for turn or something along those lines. Not usually game winning, but a nice value piece. I would say the centerpiece of the deck exists in these 2 ranks. You spend a little bit of time here sometimes in order to win, and you don't usually want to be here unless your opponent is reasonably interacting with all the things that you are doing. But you have pathways to victory at all of these levels depending on the matchup.
Nice.
We will talk now about the monster deck. Or sorry, not the monster deck, the monsters in the main deck. I do that every time. I swear. I think I've done that in every single video that I have recorded with you guys. We'll start with my personal favorite, the Ghidorah engine. I am running 4 copies of every King Ghidorah monster card that is not an Invade 2. This is not because they have any particular effects. Rather, it is because we care about having a certain density of Ghidorah cards in the graveyard for the card that we like to call 23-Dera. As long as you have Ghidorah cards going into your graveyard, you're churning through your deck, you're doing a lot of rage, you'll end up with enough Ghidorah names in the bin that you can very easily play 23-Dera without any difficulty, regardless largely of the opponent's zone position. We have a total of 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 Ghidorah names as the monsters. And once again, they are there primarily to go into the graveyard for rage or in order to produce crystals. That's not all the monsters, though. 24 is still a little low. We play 4 copies of the SpaceGodzilla level 3. This is one of the combo pieces in the deck. If there are 3 or more crystals in your zones and you have Awakening 4 online, it prevents the opponent from playing battle cards in the same column as it. So you might realize then that if you are in Area 8 and you clear Area 8 and you have this guy there at the end of the turn, your opponent is kind of up a creek. Because unless they're able to delete all of your crystals right now, they will not be able to play a blocker for Zone 8, and then they will inevitably die on the next turn. I was able to pull this off a couple of times, but I will say the more removal that people are playing, the worse this card becomes, the more willing I am to just pitch it for rage or something along those lines. Brings us up to a total of 28 monsters thus far. And the last one, a little bit of a tech choice. I don't know if I would do it again. I have this rank 4 SpaceGodzilla. It is an invade 2. If you have 3 or more crystals in your zones, it becomes a base 52,000 rather than 32,000. And when it advances during the end phase, it advances up further for each crystal in your zones. This sounds incredibly powerful, and it can be, but normally the sequencing of playing this card correctly requires you to produce a bunch of crystals on the board when you're at rank 4, overlay this on top in a strategic position, and then you can end up back at 8 or 7 or 6, or really wherever you want to be. Because the funny little thing about this card, creating 2 crystals whenever you rage, you can play them wherever you want. So if you want to, you can play them on top of each other and so on. You can sort of control the amount of crystals that you have, therefore the amount that you advance with this card. I never got a chance to play this tonight. I found myself always using it for rage or invasion. Would I run it again? Probably not, but theoretically it has some play in recovering tempo in game states that are already undesirable. That is to say, when you have been knocked to rank 4, which is not usually the game plan. But I think that it does an okay job of that. That is 29 monster cards overall. If I were to run this again, I would probably replace this with the other rank 3, more copies of this so I can overlay them and reproduce crystals after they get deleted, because people have gotten a little too smart to my shenanigans now and are actually killing the crystals every turn that they can. So it becomes a bit more of an uphill battle to keep them online. But when no one was packing removal for small battle cards, totally different story. But now, maybe we need to be spending a little bit more resources on remaking the crystals at level 3.
And
that's the monster cards.
You could make that a 1-step instead of a 2-step, still have your same monster count, and then free up an additional wiggle room for another 2-step. So
you could. I think that I would rather have another monster and make some cuts somewhere else. So maybe go up to 30 or 32 monsters. One of the things about this deck is that it runs a lot of one-ofs. So you wish to be able to cycle your hand very actively. And one of the cards that I want to swap out potentially later is GAM, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, which is another incentive for having a lot of monsters. But that's the monsters. We move on to the battles. First, the star of the show. The 23-drop Mecha King Ghidorah. 23 drop. It has a nifty little ability where its cost is reduced by 2 for every King Ghidorah card in your discard pile. Basically, whenever you want to cast this, usually, turn 4, turn 5, typically, this card is going to be free. You'll be able to cast it because it'll be reduced to 1 or 0 or 2 or -1, whatever the case may be. And you can play it whatever zone you want. If it's in the same column as your opponent's monster card, though, it gets 3k counter power, making it Gamma equivalent at 10k, and also prevents them from invading. A lot of the time, you will stick it here, such that your opponent is unable to invade for game, forcing them to walk into their area 8, and then you invade 2 for game with them having no blockers at the appropriate time. And you can use strategy cards like Godzilla attacks and so on to manipulate your movement, or technically you can also use this card in that context to manipulate your movement. And that makes it to where whenever the opponent desperately needs to invade, they will not be able to do so. Plus, worst case scenario, it's a 10k. I like it a lot. I think that it offers a lot of utility. It's probably one of the more powerful engines, if not the most, well, it's the second most powerful engine in the deck, I think, and out of green in general. And it's so easy to run in SpaceGodzilla because we get to decide what cards we want to put into the graveyard using the level 1's ability. We can pitch Ghidorah names selectively, preferentially, and just naturally over raging a bunch, we will end up with enough of them in the grave to play this card.
Absolutely.
It does some fun things against biollante too, because biollante being at zone 5, okay, whatever, that's fine. I'll reduce this to 5 and then play it. which is something that a lot of decks struggle to do, which is play things under biostun. This deck does not struggle at all to play things under biostun, that's for sure.
And playing that in the 1 and 2 column really slows your opponent's mobility down. They just get stuck on that corner. And
I don't like to play it in 1, typically. I typically will play it in 2, maybe in 3 if I'm really worried. 1, I usually want my opponent to go to 7 so I can drop this on them. So when I play it in 1, I don't actually get that, right? Slowing the game down there doesn't always align properly with the way that I want to map my movement around the board. I want you to be in 7, and then I play this. That way you're forced to walk into 8 when I'm able to end a turn in 7 in exchange. And so usually the math for that works out that you want this in 2, not usually in 1 or 3. There are exceptions though. Against Bio, you can totally throw it in 1, or you can just to get the 10k easily, or you can leave it in 2 for when they get moving, because you will get them moving. You're countering Bio very easily in this deck. Fun card. Using it correctly, massive challenge. In terms of additional Bio hate, I also ran 1 copy of Godzilla 1972. Never drew it, except in the finals, which ironically wasn't against Bio. But it represents 7,000 counter power on a rank 4. That's a pretty good rate. It's an invade 2 slot. Maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe this could become one of these. Maybe this just leaves entirely. If you see a ton of biollante in your local meta, this is a card you should be playing more copies of because it just ruins their day. You turn 1 counter a Bio player, they're having a bad time immediately. You know a thing or two about that. But the gist of it is, it's a reasonably statted body that's not that hard to include and is a tech against a deck that I was expecting to see more of in the tournament tonight, regardless of whether or not I did. Then I run 4 copies of King Ghidorah 1964. By all accounts, this card is the most likely on the chopping block for the next version of the deck. I might have to do an updated deck tech video with you if you don't mind at some point of like, okay, things I've thought about after the tournament. Because I really do not like my list right now in the state that it is. But this is the list as it was played tonight and it won the tournament. So obviously you don't have to have a perfect list in order to win. But, you know, piloting goes a long way. But I definitely feel like this is the weak point. On paper, it looks great. 8,000 for 7 is okay. If you have Awakening 6, it's an 11k, which is better than GAM. Usually you're able to fulfill that condition at the appropriate point in time. The reason it's in here isn't really because we intend to cast it, but just to increase the density of Ghidorah names. Normally it's getting invaded with, or it's getting discarded for the cost of SpaceGodzilla's Flying Form's effect to make crystals. Either of those things is fine. I think I just want this to be GAM, but regardless, it did put in some work for me tonight, getting a couple of choice counters. Arguably GAM would have also in those situations, but it is a Ghidorah name. And if you want to have maximum consistency of I want to play Ghidorah 23 drop as quickly as possible, then you max out on these. I'm not sure if I want to do that anymore because of the way in which I normally find myself, like the state of the game in which I find myself wanting to play that card. But here it is. Finally, this guy came up a lot. I ran 3 Godzilla Kings of the Monsters. This card is underplayed at the moment. It provides a lot of natural counter power against biollante. Once again, this deck just dunks on biollante stun because you can play this battle card, you can play that other tech card, and as you'll see in a moment, there's a strategy card that you could even play to get the counter. You have no issue at all with dealing with that matchup in my experience, and this card is a big part of why. You go to area 8, you can play this as though it were a 4-drop. Generally speaking, you can play it as early as turn 2 if you have a Godzilla attacks, or turn 3 if you don't. It allows you to take advantage of that giant stack of monsters for rage that you have sitting around over there and blow people up by gaining 3,000 counter power for each of your rages. Oh, and as a bonus, it also can't be destroyed if you have 3 or more rage, as long as it's in zones 1 through 5, at least not by an opponent's effect. Would I keep it at 3 copies? Yeah, maybe. Might take it down to 2, but I definitely want at least 2, especially considering how much bio is in the meta right now. And it's good into other decks too, unlike some other cards like maybe Giant Condor, which are good again, really good into bio, but kind of not so awesome into some other deck matchups. This one is just very rarely a bad draw in hardly any matchup.
OG.
That's the battle cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Finally, we've got the strategy cards. Starting with my personal favorite, arguably the whole reason to play the deck, God of Destruction's Counterattack. This card is a house. If there are 3 or more crystals in your zones, yeah, you get, it certainly feels like it. You feel like you feel like Beerus punched you because, hey, 20,000 counter for doing nothing, right? I mean, for doing things I wanted to do anyway. Dumping my whole hand, putting monsters in the graveyard is desirable within the context of the larger engine to set up 23 Hedorah. So everything about the deck wants to make crystals and put things into the graveyard. This card rewards you for doing things that you already wanted to do by giving you 20,000 counter power on a dime. This clears every level 1 with outrage, every level 2 with outrage, some level 3s with outrage, and it can be combined with usually one or other battle card in order to hit counters with rage at a variety of level thresholds as well. Usually, the default game plan with this deck is invade 2, and then either invade 1 or 2, depending on the matchup, slam a God of Destruction's counterattack, hit that early counter, start drawing a ton of cards as early as possible. Very rarely does this deck actually win by countering 4 times. I find it more common to win via invasion. Obviously, the match in the finals was a bit of a deviation from that, but I think that was mostly because my opponent made a mistake. The crux of it is this is a good way to farm your opponent for cards immediately, which then lets you draw more cards to get higher rage thresholds, to be harder to deal with, to get more crystals, and kind of just spirals from there. And if nothing else, it's an incredibly easy way to knock back just about any aggressive deck with very little effort required in your part in a way that's very difficult for them to interact with. It's unless you're going out of your way to delete my crystals every turn, it's hard for you to stop me from playing this card, and then you get countered. Super, super solid stuff. Mandatory 4 of. If you're not playing 4 of this in SpaceGodzilla, you're wrong. And
agreed.
I rarely say statements like objectively like that, right? Or intending to be like definitively, but I genuinely believe if you're not running 4 of this in SpaceGodzilla, you're doing something wrong. It is the reason to play.
And it never hurts to draw 2, too, because now you're sitting with 40k in your hand, and like, dude, they can still rage. They can rage 4 cards, and you can still counter them sometimes. So like,
yeah, in round 3 against Evil, I just hit him with 2 of these per game, and I was like, oh yeah, that does it. So sometimes with the amount of cards that you draw in cycle, you can hang on to 2 of them. The most common way, if you're going to play all 4 of them, is like you'll play 1 on turn 2, you'll play 1 on turn 3, you'll find a couple of them, find an opportunity where, well, I say that. Sometimes you'll just curve out with these, 1, 2, 3, 4, but a slightly more common pattern I find is to hang on to the last 2 for a big burst all at once. Regardless, it's matchup dependent how you play the card. The important part is that you do play the card and you play 4 of them. We have, finally, a variety of one-of strategy cards rounding it out. And all of these have specific purposes in solving specific problems. This one's pretty cheeky. Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla. It's a rank 1 that chooses 2 of your opponent's battle cards in your zones and moves them around. This is funny if your opponent has any battle card that is rank 5 or below, because in combination with your level 3, you can just rage, delete it after moving it into Area 8. So you just say, hey, that tentacle token, or hey, that crystal token, or hey, that train bomber token, or whatever it is. There's tons of tiny little battle cards running around right now that just get incidentally created. You just say, that's in Area 8 now. Also, I rage out and kill it. Also, I invade 2 for game. And you can really screw with your opponent's ability to protect themselves defensively with this card. I am only running 1. There's an argument for 2, but it does a ton of stuff. Mostly, though, by taking advantage of opponents who play into it, by playing small battle cards to the field, which is something that you should never do against SpaceGodzilla if you can avoid it, because this card exists. And it's the only card in the game that I'm aware of that lets you do this specific interaction of, I'm going to force you to block with something bad. It's very strong. Then we also play, somewhat begrudgingly, Destroy All Monsters. Another card that you could consider. I like it because it allows me to pretty much unconditionally kill something, and we are lacking in ways to unconditionally kill things. If there's a problematic card on the board, whether that's a frozen form or a Destoroyah that's about to evolve, or a 23 Hedorah itself, or some, well, not 23 Hedorah unless the zone alignment is not in play. But the point I'm making is This is a card that is just sort of a universal. I need to get that thing off the field, and I need to get it off the field right now. And in that regard, it can be quite helpful as a situational one-of. But you're also super fine discarding this to make crystals a ton of the time.
And
you're already planning on invading, so it's easy.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. It's pretty free. Pretty free. Then we've got ourselves the Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah strategy card. It's a rank 4. It's really, most of the time, it's a rank 6, right? Normally, I'm not casting this to destroy 3 of my opponent's rank 4 or lower battles. Sometimes you do. I did it a couple of times in the tournament tonight.
It works.
But more commonly, you clear the tokens, exactly. More commonly, you'll use it for the 6 mode to clear 2 rank 6 or lower battles. Clear a Destoroyah flying form before it becomes a problem, or some other thing. And then also, as long as you're in zone 8, you can use it to destroy 1 of your opponent's battle cards, no matter what it is, which combines well with the stacking of the rank 3. You can clear area 8, put yourself there, make it to where they can't play a battle card on top, and then you win the game. We play a Godzilla attacks for a variety of reasons. I want more copies of this card. That is one thing that I know for sure. I definitely want more copies of this card in this deck. It enables turn 2ing a Godzilla King of the Monsters. It enables aligning into Area 8 more easily with the rank 3 combo plan to prevent your opponent from playing battle cards to the column. It recovers tempo in matchups where you've gotten knocked back, potentially by Biollante Stun or someone else who's playing Godzilla 1991. It just does so much in enabling you to teleport around the field. And it also can be used to single-handedly turn on this card for the rank 6 mode. Just it interacts very favorably into all the other things that we're doing. Finally, last card of the deck, the Bite Attack, which is, I like to say it's my favorite bad card. When your monster card's rage is increased, when you play it, it's a 7. You increase your monster's rage by 1 for each rank of your opponent's monster. Generally speaking, because of the fact that you are getting those early counters, this represents around 2.5 rage. Sometimes you get it for the full value of 4. Sometimes you get it for only 3. I would say I'm pretty comfortable playing this card as long as I can get at least 2 rage out of it. And because I'm always hitting that turn 2 counter using God of Destruction counterattack, if things are in the general game plan of what I'm trying to do, because it's not hard to draw a playset ratio card by turn 2, not at all. And then this is going to represent at least 2 rage worth on 1 card, and that's a favorable exchange rate. It has additional upside from there. If I was not playing a deck that was trying to counter on turn 2 religiously every single time, I would not play this card. But this deck, you can get away with playing this card because you can use it to its full effect pretty consistently. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 strategy cards. And that's the deck.
Nice.
It is a pile of synergies, a pile of interactions, a pile of tech cards and one-ofs that you find in the appropriate situations. And it's so difficult to put SpaceGodzilla against the wall in a way that it isn't able to recover from and then punish you back worse, sometimes by you losing the game on the spot. And if at any point you misplay into it, perhaps not respecting the crystals, not respecting the 23 hedorah, not respecting the bite attack, not respecting the God of Destruction, there's just so many ways that you can lose the game against this deck. My job when I'm piloting this deck is to figure out the most efficient path to get to that state. And sometimes that involves thinking 2 or even 3 or 4 turns ahead with placement of a 23 hedorah or with a particular counter.
Yeah.
Another cool thing is that because I don't usually commit battle cards to the field, I can even decide if I don't want to counter you. It's very easy for me to decide every turn whether I want to play that strategy card or not, which again, against Bio, maybe I want them at level 2, but I don't want you moving yet. I'm not going to play another battle card to the field. I'll just hang on the thing. Whereas if I had countered them in a traditional manner, they would be able to choose if they were going to move on the next turn or not, because they could choose not to rage. Just like it's agency.deck. I make all the decisions. I have all of the answers. All I have to do is figure out where your weak point is and then stab you in it repeatedly.
Well, it sounds like it performed very well, and I'm looking forward to seeing you modify it and see it in the next tournament. I'm sure we'll get a glimpse at it.
I think right now, if I were to just quickly make a couple of changes for anybody who wants to play along at home off the top of my head, these should probably be GAMs. Keep 2 of those. And get another couple of copies of those. You can decide for yourself if you want to play the anti-biollante tech cards or not. If you don't, probably just play more Godzilla attacks and some gravity beams. That's really the only card I found myself missing, by far. All night, I wish I had gravity beams in this deck, so next time it's going to have gravity beams in it. It's going to have at least 2.
Oh boy. Hand ripping. We love it.
Well, hand ripping is good when I'm trying to make it to where you can't avoid getting countered.
I mean, it's I can appreciate the hand ripping from Biostun, since the name of the game a lot of times is you're only getting 4 cards, and I'm gonna keep drawing cards, and sucks to be you. So I get.
Yeah, you can do exactly the same thing. Like, I'm getting the counter, but my rage is high enough, and you don't have cards that you can counter me, and I'm able to counter you when you're just early on in the game state. I'm hanging out over here. So you miss the windows, and then suddenly I'm drawing 1 more card than you, then 2 more cards, then 3 more cards than you. Maybe you eventually counter me back, but it's far too late because I've buried you under the card advantage, and I've drawn the situational cards that I need to win the matchup.
Yeah, and you get all the free threat from the crystals, so it all works out.
Absolutely. And even decks that want to be countered, like Shin, you counter them when they don't want to be countered. You just counter them too early, and they lose the ability to combo kill you.
Well, I appreciate you coming around and showing us your text and everything, your deck, and explaining it all real nice for us. Like I said, everybody join the Discord. Come check out the tournament. You get to see Ian live in action, test out all these different crazy strategies, and it's just a good time. We encourage everyone to come join us. So,
try SpaceGodzilla. It's great. It's fun. It makes you think a lot. It's really challenging. It's the exact opposite of the bungler deck in every possible respect, because you have to think about every action you take every turn.
Even maybe 2 or 3 turns. So
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and also what your opponent's going to do.
Well, until next time, everybody, we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Later.